So this problem requires me to convert a string into an integer, not just any string. There's going to be some numeric characters in it first. So if I have the string of 42, then I need to output the integer 42, an actual number, not a string. And here I have a string of some white spaces and a minus sign and then 42, and this minus sign is valid, so I need a negative, so I need to output negative 42. And then another example given to me was this. If there are numbers in the front and with non-numeric strings, non-numeric characters afterwards, then it should be valid if I just grab the number first. But this is not valid. If I have a string with non-numeric characters in the front and then a number, this number don't matter. I return 0. This makes this entire thing invalid, and then I just need to return 0. I also have another constraint where the integer in the 32-bit system, max number is 2 to the 31st. In the negative one is 2 to the 31st, but the positive is 2 to the 31st minus 1. That is how signed integers work in a computer system. So if I have too big of a number, just return the, too small of a number, I need to return the minimum, which is negative 2 to the 31st power. So I understand that input is a string that has potentially numeric characters in it. If I have an empty string or a string with no numeric characters whatsoever at the beginning, then I just need to return 0, just like this. So yeah, output 32-bit number, or signed number, that matters. So as for other problems I've seen before, just like a lot of string multiplication. So I'm going to need group so I can get rid of all the white spaces. I'll need a for loop to go through the elements of a string. What else? I need to cast. Oh well, before that, I need some if conditions. Conditionals to check whether or not if some of these characters are positive or there's a minus symbol or a positive plus symbol, or if there are numbers, if there are non-numerics, etc., etc. So I'll need those kind of if conditions, and I'll need to cast I'll need to cast things into an integer. And this only works if the entire string is a valid number. No non-numeric numbers whatsoever. Like even 3.1 as a string, that will give me errors. I can only get 3 as a string, then I can cast it. So here's my plan. My plan is to make a copy of the string, so I'll call it scopy. And I'll strip it of all white spaces. I'll need a sign holder, so let's make that. This is for handling a plus or minus, and then I'll need a empty string to start building from. So after I make the copy, now I need to check if the first characters are a positive or negative, so I'll have an if condition. If, or I should actually make sure that I have something to check. So if it's greater than 0, if the length of S copy is greater than 0, that means I can be able to check this. I won't go out of bounds. And I want to check if it's a member of the plus or minus club. If it is, I'll need to check if it's a negative. Negative. If it is a negative, sign becomes -1. For the outer loop, what I need to do is I need to grab the string after the plus or minus. So S copy is equal to S copy, and I only want things after the plus symbol. So, and that's how I grab only anything after the plus or minus. Now the for loop. So for all the characters in the S copy, if the character is a number, then I need to build that number string that I call build. So I just need to concatenate with the character. As soon as I reach a non-character beyond this point, I go out of the loop. Yeah, even like before, it'll break even. So as soon as it sees W, like, oh no, I'm not going to build anymore. I'll just end up with the empty string for build. So if I do end up with an empty string for build, then I need to return 0. Now I need to check for the constraints. If int build multiplied by the sign is less than -2 to the 31st, then I need to return -2 to the 31st. If is bigger, then I need to return, if it's bigger than 2 to the 31st -1, I need a -1, then I need to return that number 2 to the 31st -1. If none of these if statements trigger, then I can just finally return the number, where I cast the number only string build into an integer multiplied by the sign, and that should be my answer. And I think I handled every case. If I get an empty string, this won't give me an error. This for loop won't run because I have an empty string for S copy. That means build will end up with 0. The length of build will be 0. Then I need to return 0. And that is all. I think I handled every case.